Granite City Sports continues here on AM 1390, KXSS. Dave O, Lee Voss, joined now in studio by the head coach of the St. Cloud boys hockey team, Pete Matanich. Pete, we were talking a little bit off the air. Long time no see, man. How's it going?
Oh, it's been great. Thanks for having me on today.
You wanted to say the St. Cloud such and such.
Yeah, right? I
We were
hung up
talking
a little
about that.
bit.
You guys need a mascot.
Well, unofficially, it's the Teagles, right? Unofficially, or is that kind of faded after last year?
Some people still like to call us the Eagles. So
Not you, though.
I don't really know or care. I mean, really, I just like to coach hockey, and I'd leave it at that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, you guys have been having a pretty great season so far. I know you've hit a little bit of a rough patch here recently, but so far so good, especially with that jump last year to Double A. It seems like you've really gotten your feet under yourselves and you're competing.
Yeah, no, the second year program, the kids are used to me now. They know the expectations of what we expect, and it's been great. The kids are just kind of flourishing right now. We're starting to work through some of our lineup stuff that we've been dealing with, grabbing JV guys, grabbing varsity guys, moving them up and down. So for us, we're at the time in the year where we really got to figure out our playoff roster here in the next week or two and really start making that push for the end of the season.
Numbers are good. Participation's good.
Yeah, I think we're sitting at 39 right now, kids, between the two schools, so it's been good.
Led so far in points by Brad Amundsen this season, and that's a guy that is familiar to St. Cloud hockey fans, and this year he's kind of ratcheted his game up another level.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome for us. He's been a great leader in the locker room too, and just one of those guys you can really rely on every night, not only from a points production, but he kills. He's really good on the face-offs for us too, so any D-zone, offensive zone face-off situations, he's our guy.
Just to back up for a brief second, the biggest difference between single A and double A, is it depth? I mean, a lot like in football where bigger schools are going to have more kids and more depth, or is there a difference to the style of play?
I definitely think depth. I mean, Class A, when I was at Apollo, we could get by with, a line and a half of really good forwards and 3 or 4 D. We're now in double A. You can play that way and be competitive, but you're not going to win a lot of those close games. So for us, we're needing 3 lines. We have 10 forwards we rotate in for our varsity games, and we have a 4th line of guys that we bring up for the 3rd period. And then for our defensemen, we need all 6 guys ready to go for each game.
My first year here, you had the one line of Omen, Kenny, and Christian, I think it was, and they had like 140 points, and then you get those guys off the ice, and it was still a good hockey team, but there was a drop-off, but you were still very successful. I think you made it to state that year.
Yeah, we did. That was, 2013, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's the difference with Class A to Double A is depth, and there's a little different style with it too, but mostly your special team stuff then too is a little bit more intense because they got 2 good groups typically. Whereas in Class A, you usually load up one group that's really good, and the second group's kind of so-so. So for that, you just have to have the depth overall. And goaltending, usually you see a little better goaltending in Double A too.
What about your senior class this year? I know you've got a lot of guys that came up through the different programs, and now they're in their second year with this United program, co-op program. What about those guys on the ice? What kind of leaders are they?
Oh, they've been great. For me last year coming in and having all the kids from both schools take me in like they did, it's been great. And this year, that group of seniors, they really want to be good and they really want to have a good year. So they've really, really pushed the younger kids this year and bringing in that united front, I guess, more so than we even did last year. And it's been great just in the locker room, the kids picking up each other, guys making sure that everybody's getting included in everything that we do. Grabbing 38 or 39 guys, it's kind of tough at times to make sure everybody's included. But that's a big thing for us, is just making sure everybody feels like they're welcome and a part of it, and it's helped bring our team closer this year.
I think they need you to buy a bus, and then they could all fit on there, and we wouldn't have this problem.
Exactly.
Pete, talk about Hockey Day Minnesota. When it was announced that you guys are going to be able to play in this event, I'm sure everyone was excited. As you've prepared, and now you're just a couple of days away here, is this a good thing for high school hockey? Give us your thoughts on the whole process.
No, I think it's a great thing, especially I think more so for Central Minnesota hockey, just because we're not really Northern Minnesota and we're not the Metro, so we kind of get lost in that shuffle a little bit. People kind of forget about St. Cloud area. So for us, it's a great time and a way for us to highlight, especially us having the crosstown game. I think as much as I would, on both sides like to play a Double A team, I think playing Cathedral and allowing people to see kind of what we have to offer up here is going to be great.
What about the ice outside? I know it's going to be warm, but they've got the coils underneath, so the ice shouldn't be an issue. even if it's 35 degrees per se?
Well, that's why, having the early game, as much as it's out of your routine a little bit, I think it's going to be the best game to have for a playing conditions, just because you won't have that sun up usually yet melting the ice at all, and it'll be hard, crisp ice. We'll probably have temps in the upper 20s at that point, so I think it'll be perfect for us to play for conditions.
Did you have any say in what time you played? Because I thought it was a little interesting that you'd play at 10 a.m. as the local team as opposed to kind of a quote-unquote prime time at 4:30.
I think the reason they did us early is because they want people there all day. I think they want to bring out, last year when we played Cathedral, they had us on, I don't know if it was like a webcast. I think they used that kind of as a base to see what we'd have for a crowd, and we had close to 3,000 at the hockey center. So I think they looked at that as, hey, we have those guys play early, we'll get, a good majority of the people out early on for all 3 games, versus if we were the 4 o'clock game, they might just come out for that last game.
Is there anything that you need to tell your kids about playing outdoors versus, playing over at the MAC or at the National Hockey Center? Is there anything, whether it's glare, we talked a little bit about the ice. Is there any differences, or are these kids so used to playing Pondy that it's not a big deal at all?
You like to think it's not, but there's definitely elements. They got cameras in their faces now, and they want to do interviews after periods, and it's just going to be different from that perspective. But playing surface, I think the bounce off the boards isn't going to be as true as you get at the MAC or the National Hockey Center. I think it's going to be a little more dead. So when you go to make those boards passes, you got to make sure you feel at the boards beforehand. I think the glare, looking up in the backdrop is going to be different for the goaltenders. They don't have a solid backdrop to look into, so I think shots from anywhere are going to be interesting. Needless to say. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be as close as you can make it to indoor game outside, but I definitely think there'll be some elements. The ice will chip a little bit more. It'll be a little bit more snowy compared to indoor ice, so I think there'll be some elements that definitely play a factor.
Did you guys practice outdoors, and if so, where?
We did a couple weeks ago. We went over to Sartell. They have an outdoor sheet that's regulation size, and
Next to Burnix?
Yeah, we went out there on a day when it was 15 below.
I can picture it being like the Sandlot, where you show up and then the Sartell guys are waiting, like, not today, guys.
Yeah.
This is our rink.
Well, I
think they can have it on 10 below or 15 below, whatever it was. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we just went out, and it was, I said, this is the worst it's going to get. It's 15 below right now, guys. This could be what we play in, so let's go out and get ourselves maybe acclimated, do it a little bit. So we didn't have a lot of days where we can go skate outdoors. That was the one day we could, so we just thought we might as well try it. And the kids had a blast, but it was really, really cold as a coach. Just not really moving too much, but those kids, it was fun because like some of the guys were the clear bubble face masks, and those fogged up and iced up actually really bad. So we have a lot of our kids going back to the face masks now and cages. So we were able to try that out and kind of work through some of those problems.
Cages are a lost art.
Mm-hmm.
No one wears a cage anymore. That's all they had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So you've been down to Eastman Park, you've been down to Lake George and see the facilities. From a fan standpoint, just driving by, it looks like it should be pretty cool. The sight lines and all that with the bleachers built up. Should be a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome for the fans and even for us to play and to have that close-knit, 3,000 to 5,000 people, however many people are going to have down there right on top of you. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
So from the time that it was announced this summer that you guys were going to play in this until now, has it felt like 10 years or has it all gone by very quickly because there are more demands on you for your time? The kids you mentioned are doing interviews. I know Fox Sports North was up here. Is it one of those things where you're like, I'm eager to see it get over with and get back to regular hockey? Or are you like, man, this is all going by too fast?
Well, it's kind of, you forget what normal is almost in the last month. We've been kind of dealing with different, even from an administrative side of it, trying to plan out where you're going to park and where you're going to be doing stuff. It's the stuff you never think about. And then all of a sudden you have one game where you have so much attention on the one game, and it's not a playoff game, it's not a state tournament game, it's just right in the middle of your season. So from that perspective, it's been a lot of extras, but I think for the kids, especially for our kids, to get that experience even before playoffs, to even have a playoff atmosphere game like that, to play in front of people and all that stuff, I think will hopefully help us down the road too.
We were talking about before you came in that St. Cloud has kind of been, I don't know if it would be a well-kept secret, but it's an underrated hockey hotbed with how many quality teams there are in this area, both on the girls' side and the boys' side, a Division I men and women's program. And it almost seems a little bit overdue for Hockey Day Minnesota to come to St. Cloud. And for you, who's been coaching here for as long as you have, this has to be a pretty big point of pride for you that finally the state is going to get to see what we've been seeing here for a long time.
Yeah, no, that's a part of it. Growing up here my whole life too, and playing my youth hockey, high school hockey here in the 90s, and we've always had good teams and competitive teams all the way through, I feel, and to now finally have a stage where you can showcase that off a little bit and not be caught up with, like I said, the Metro or the North thing, where we're actually able to showcase St. Cloud. I think it's going to be huge, not only for us, but for the community.
Can you tell us about what you're doing from tomorrow morning until the game Saturday? Do you guys have a chance tomorrow at all to skate on the ice? Are you going to go watch the girls hockey game, or are you going to try to keep it low key, get these guys in bed early, like, yeah, right, and then get them up for the game? I mean, what are you going to do?
We have a JV game tomorrow during the day at 10:30 over at the MAC, so our guys will be out of school. We'll be over at the MAC hanging out, and then we have our practice skate through at 2:15 to 3:15 down at the outdoor sheet.
Oh, so, cool.
How about after your game? Are you going to stay down there? Are you going to watch hockey all afternoon, all evening, and just try and take it all in, or you kind of go back to watching video and utilizing the rest of your weekend to relax?
I'll be enjoying it, because this is one of those things I haven't been able to ever experience, just because we're in the middle of our season. Typically we can't get out and go down to Stillwater or Duluth to go enjoy it, so I'll stay down there and enjoy the weekend. My kids plan on being down there. I got 8-year-old twin boys, so they'll be skating over on Lake George, I'm sure, all day. So and just for us, just as a family, trying to enjoy the weekend and what it all has to come.
Pete, we appreciate it. Best of luck Saturday. We're all looking forward to Hockey Day Minnesota, and I'm excited personally following your team and following Cathedral for the last 5-6 years like I have. I'm really excited that these are the two teams that get a chance to show off what St. Cloud is made of on Saturday morning.